Good morning. We are living in the age of exponential demand. Every week, it seems, a new AI model emerges, hungrier, larger, and more powerful than the last. But this intelligence explosion is running headlong into a very real, very terrestrial limit: power and heat. This is where SpaceX steps in, and this is the true grand narrative behind why they are so eager to deploy data centers in orbit. It's not just a secondary business. It is the logical, necessary convergence of the two most capital-intensive industries on Earth: AI computing and space launch. The terrestrial constraint: why we must leave Earth. The fundamental driver for SpaceX's orbital data center ambition is the unsustainability of terrestrial power consumption for AI. A single, hyperscale data center on Earth today can require over 100 megawatts of continuous power. That's enough to power a small city. Now, consider Elon Musk's publicly stated goal of deploying 100 to 300 gigawatts of continuous AI computing power. A typical nuclear power plant generates about 1 gigawatt. To reach 300 gigawatts on Earth, we would have to dedicate a significant fraction of the world's current power generation capacity to AI. And that is simply impossible, or at least economically and politically unfeasible. Furthermore, we haven't even discussed cooling. Up to 40% of the energy consumed by a ground-based data center is used for cooling systems like chillers, HVAC, and water pumps. This creates massive pressure on regional power grids and places unsustainable demands on increasingly scarce water resources. The Not in My Backyard, or NIMBY, opposition to these resource-draining megaprojects is already forcing big tech to scour the globe for suitable, cheap, and isolated locations. SpaceX believes the solution to a terrestrial problem is an extraterrestrial environment. The orbital advantage, the economics of infinity. The space environment, hostile as it is, offers two decisive economic advantages that neutralize the biggest obstacles on Earth: free energy and free cooling. Infinite power. The solar array advantage. In a properly chosen orbit, such as a high-inclination or sun-synchronous orbit, a satellite can receive near-continuous solar irradiation 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. On Earth, solar panels contend with atmospheric attenuation, weather, and the day-night cycle. In space, solar panels receive approximately 30% more intensity and are always on. This effectively reduces the marginal energy cost for the computer cluster to near zero, potentially dropping the overall cost per kilowatt hour by over 97% compared to terrestrial sites. This is the single factor that, over a 5 to 10-year lifespan, allows the operational expenditure, OPEX, savings to eventually overwhelm the massive upfront capital expenditure, CapEx, of a launch. Ultimate cooling, the vacuum advantage. In space, the satellite can use passive radiative cooling. By deploying enormous specialized radiator panels, the data center simply radiates waste heat directly into the absolute cold of deep space. While the engineering challenge of building those large panels is immense, the energy cost of cooling, which is a major ongoing expense on Earth, drops to zero. The combination of virtually free energy and free cooling creates an economic model that, at the planned gigawatt scale of AI computing, is projected to eventually be more cost-effective than building another massive facility on Earth. The SpaceX monopoly, Starship and Starlink. The economic viability of ODCs is a matter of pure physics and logistics, which is why SpaceX is uniquely positioned to dominate this market. The Starship enabler SpaceX's orbital data center plan hinges entirely on the success of Starship. No other launch vehicle on the planet can deploy the sheer mass required to make this work. A single, powerful AI satellite with all its compute, power, and massive radiator panels will weigh multiple tons. Starship's core promise is to launch 100 to 150 metric tons to orbit and do so fully and rapidly repeatedly. This high flight rate and massive payload capacity is the only path to deploying a constellation capable of 100 gigawatts or more of AI computing power. Furthermore, If Starship achieves its target of incredibly low cost per kilogram to orbit, it fundamentally changes the CapEx equation, accelerating the break-even point. The Starlink Foundation SpaceX is not starting from scratch. Their Starlink V3 satellites are already designed to be large, high-power platforms with advanced laser inter-satellite links. By simply scaling up the computing components within the Starlink architecture, equipping the satellites with powerful GPUs and additional shielding, SpaceX can transform its existing communications network into a distributed orbital computing cloud. The laser links already form a high-bandwidth mesh network in orbit, which is precisely what is needed to connect thousands of individual computing nodes and route processed data globally with lower latency than is possible using long terrestrial fiber optic lines. Conclusion: the grand convergence. For SpaceX, deploying satellite data centers is more than a new revenue stream. It is the ultimate vertical integration of all its endeavors. It is the company that launches the product, owns the infrastructure, Starlink, and provides the massive necessary computing power for the next generation of global AI, which is itself connected to XAI. It moves SpaceX beyond being a service provider, a launch company, to being the owner of the infrastructure backbone for the AI revolution, the cloud in space. By conquering the twin challenges of power and cooling through the physics of space, SpaceX seeks to unlock the next massive frontier of computing and secure an unassailable strategic advantage over every Earth-bound competitor. To hear more of Elon Musk's vision for this kind of technology, you can check out this video. From Starship to lunar railguns, Elon Musk's plan for AI dominance.